Are you after a new tip?
But that's kind of like
Only the highest quality here.
Anyway,
Let's hear it.
This one is especially juicy. I hear that Mike is into a little more than selling guns, if you know what I mean. It might be worth helping him out a bit. See if he'll let you in on his big score. I think I outdid myself with that one. Don't you?
people are saying there was some kind of disease outbreak.
Not today.
Yeah, you're a loss.
I don't really know how serious it is. or whatever,
Have you
but,
come to learn of the Four?
The Father is so wise.
Until he opens again, sister.
The Four watches over us.
Hey there.
The Four protects us.
Hey, you want to head out again? Just let me know.
Not right now.
No worries. We'll get together later.
Hi.
Have you completed your pilgrimage of the Four?
Yeah. It's done.
Then it is with great pleasure that I welcome you to the Church of the Four. Please, stay for a sermon to celebrate your joining. My fellow followers of the Four, can you hear me?
Yes, Father.
My fellow followers of the Four, today I want to talk to you about courage. There are those in the town of Fourville who mock our dedication to the Four. Let me tell you now, those people are cowards. It takes true courage to admit that there are things that we do not understand. The Four is one such thing. Every man and woman set before me has shown true courage by joining this church. And that isn't all. It is this great virtue through which we derive our strength. The Four has stood for over 200 years, and may it stand for 200 more. The walls of the Four have never been broken in all that time. And like the Four, we stand strong and unshakable. It is through all this that the Four can become a model for how we should all live our lives. May the Four protect you all.
Until he opens again. Have you come to learn of the Four?
Hey.
Now that you are a member of the Church of the Four, you are entitled to enter our sanctum. There, we hold a sacred item of the Four which you can contemplate. That is just one of 2 artifacts which our church holds.
It would be nice to know more about you.
Of course, sister. What can I tell you?
Lived here all your life?
No. I grew up on a small farm to the west. One day, I had a dream where the Four called me here to serve him. I have lived here since the day I passed through the gates. The Four has always provided for me.
What do you know about Vault-Tec?
Oh, you mean the creators. The creators created the Four to watch over us. All things must have a beginning, after all. Of course, the creators are the exception, but they are eternal.
Why don't you just tell me about yourself?
I'm so so proud of the work we do here.
Tell me more.
Our church looks after all the lost souls who need the Force protection.
Tell me more.
Since the day I laid eyes on the Four, I have known and understood its truth.
Tell me more.
Our church is always open to those who need it.
I think I've heard enough for now.
Very well. Is there something else you needed?
Is there anything I can do to help out?
Why, yes, there is. I am interested in learning more about the Four's brethren, especially those further from the Commonwealth. I've heard of a place called Far Harbor, where some say such a site lies. If you could recover an artifact from the creators from there, the church would be most grateful.
I really should study my lines. Hi.
Need stim packs? Or I can just heal you.
Do you get a lot of patients in the vault?
No. The people of this vault are surprisingly healthy. If that's all, I have work to do.
The Father is so wise.
Until he opens again, sister.
The Four watches over us.
The Four protects us.
Have you come to learn of the Four?
I can't decide who I'm going to vote for. Sanders is all right.
Hey there.
Hello again. There are no more stories until tomorrow morning, I'm afraid.
Tell me about yourself.
What sort of thing do you want to know?
What's it like, you know, being a ghoul?
I won't lie to you. It's difficult. Sometimes I struggle to remember what it was like before. I've been a ghoul for most of my life, you see. That's why I live through my stories. They help me remember how it was before.
I'm interested in the history of this place.
Well, you've come to the right person. Longbottom might think his museum is the definitive town history, but I actually lived it.
Who built this place, originally? Has it been here long?
That depends what part of the town you're talking about. They finished construction on the vault in 2075 or 6? Early 7 at the latest. The first tent was set up on the day of the bombs by a man named George Willis. You'll hear a lot of people around here talk about him like he was some kind of god or a king. Me? I never liked the man. I found him arrogant, especially once he'd proclaimed himself mayor of his little tent village.
What do you know about him?
Like I said, he was arrogant. He arrived on the morning of the bombs. I arrived in the afternoon. But by that time, he'd already proclaimed himself leader of the refugees there. He pitched that tent, and the rest is history.
What happened to him?
The same thing that happened to everyone else. He died. He was an old man when it happened. Older than I was when I first arrived, which is saying something. He wanted to be buried at sea, so he put his body in the water outside. Just as well, I think. Stopped his grave becoming a pilgrimage site for the church weirdos that came later.
Tell me more.
For all the bad things I could say about George, I don't think he ever lost faith that the vault would open. right up until his dying days.
Tell me more.
After George died, his daughter Maggie took over as town mayor for a while. I'm the only one who remembers her now. Out of respect for her and her family, I vow to never speak of what became of her. They deserve that privacy.
Tell me more about this town of yours.
When I first arrived, it was just a single tent. A lot's changed since then. A lot of building, digging, and failed attempts to get inside the vault.
Tell me more about this vault.
Vault Tech advertised that all the vaults would open after 20 years. A lot of people came here expecting shelter. They thought they could wait out the 20-year closure and then they'd be safe. That the vault would let them in. The thing is, the vault never opened. I'm not sure if it ever will after all this time.
Tell me more.
Here's a nice piece of trivia for you. George came up with the name Forville as a joke. It was only meant to be a temporary name until they could think of a better one.
Tell me more.
I thought I'd never forget all those people who survived the first days of the war in this cave. Now I struggle to remember all their faces.
Tell me more.
A young lady named Alex Waters had the first Forville baby. That terrible secretary of the mayor's is descended directly from her.
That was all I had.
Got any other questions for me?
How long have you been here?
Oh, I've lived here a long time. In fact, I was one of the first residents. I love talking about the early days of this place, when it was nothing but tents. Why don't you come back for story time? I love to tell stories about those days, and my life before the war.
Have you been here for 200 years?
Oh yes, and I'm quite proud of it. I'm the only living resident of the original camp setup outside the vault over 200 years ago.
That's a long time.
Oh, not at all. The years flew by. I was already an old man when I got here. What was another lifetime or two on top of that? Besides, I had to stay because, well, I don't really like to talk about it.
It's all right. You can tell me.
I had a place in the vault, but my son and grandson didn't. We all came here on the day of the war, but they weren't allowed in. I gave up my place so they could be safe. I never really thought I'd live long enough to see it open, but then the radiation got to me and made me live forever. 20 years passed and the vault never opened, but I couldn't bring myself to leave. This place is home for me now. Now I'm an old man who lives in his stories. It's not the retirement I wanted, but I've made peace with it, and I'm happy.
That was all I had.
Is there anything else you want?
Let me know if there's anything I can do to help you.
There's no need to worry about me. I'm perfectly happy here with my stories.
So what do you do here?
I tell stories to the little children.
Whatever. I don't need anything.
That's all right. It was nice talking to you.